Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today I've got some long-term reviews for you on some budget knives. Recently, one of my viewers commented on one of my videos and said, "Hey, where's your long-term reviews? Why don't you have any of those?" And I said, "I don't know. I have no idea why I don't." He said, "Well, you should have some because other reviewers do and we really like them." So I said, "Okay, well, the people want it. The people are going to get it." So here they are. What I decided to do was take a look back at the knives I reviewed and the ones that I still have, because some of them I do sell off to get funds to buy new knives to keep pumping out the content for you guys. So it's a vicious cycle, but I'm managing to handle it all and balance it really well. But like I said, some of the knives I have sold. So these are going to be some long-term reviews of budget knives that I still have, which are really a good thing because if I still have them, I really, really, really like them. So all these reviews are going to be relatively positive, but I'm going to point out some of the features that have either gotten better or highlights that I really like, or there may even be a couple things that I'm not a huge fan of as time has went by. So we'll start off right here with this is the CJRB Rhea, and not a whole lot of bad things to say about this. When I first got it, it was like this right out of the box. I mean, some of the best action I've ever experienced on a budget knife, hands down. If you are worried about this thumb stud being hard to deploy because of how it's placed and how it sits so deep in the handle, don't, because it's fine. It's absolute butter. It drops shut. It's very quiet. When you're shutting it, there's like no click, but it still has a really strong detent. So it's great. No issues with it whatsoever. I'd recommend this to anyone all day long. This also has their new AR RPM 9 steel, which is supposed to be much better with corrosion resistance and also still hold a really good edge. So I've had no issues with it. I've seen nothing but good reviews on the steel alone. So it sounds like a win-win. CJRB really hit a home run with this one. I go back and forth on whether or not I like this more or less than the Feldspar models. They really are a toss-up. I have the Feldspars ahead of them only because you have different size options. I don't really know if you need different size options for this one. It would be nice to see a bigger one. CJRB, if you get bored, maybe design this one in a 3.25, 3.5 inch model. That would be very, very tempting. I mean, I would just immediately buy it, but that would be cool. That would be something worth throwing out to the people. So CJRB, if you're watching this, that would please consider that. A bigger version of the Rhea. And keep the micarta coming too. This is really nice green micarta. The only thing I don't really like about this knife is for the size of the blade, the CJRB branding there is too big. Too big. I like the CJRB logo. I got no issue with it there, but it should be minimized a little. It's a small blade, and it really stands out on this. So I wish that was a little smaller. If it was a bigger blade, a 3.5, 3.25 inch, this would be all right. But it's not. It's small. It's under 3 inches. I don't know the exact length. I want to say like 2.7, 2.8, something like that. Not 100% sure without the specs right in front of me. But that's that. That's the CJRB Rhea. Nothing but good things to say about it. Butter action. Very fidgety, very fun, and that's that one. Pick it up if you're interested. You won't be disappointed. Next up, we have the Feldspar series, and I'm reviewing these together because they deserve to be reviewed together because they're basically the same knife, just a small and large version, which is an amazing thing. I absolutely love that. I think it's a great idea, especially when the knife is just on point to begin with. You have the small, and you have the large, and okay, so you have the CJRB Feldspars. Here you are, small, and you have a large. I did it! Yay! Okay, now get past that. Other than that, outside of me just ruining the beginning of this one, these are both great knives. D2 steel, not a huge fan of the D2, but that aside, I have no issues with them. Great action. Strong detents on these ones. Much stronger detents than the Rhea, which is okay. It's a lot harder. I pretty much can't middle finger flick these, but when you break past that detent, that blade is coming out. and it's coming out with authority, and it's coming out looking pretty darn fine. Love the blade shape, love the design on this knife, love the green micarta with brass accent. That was a fantastic idea from CJRB. Hope they continue that on some. Maybe use some brown micarta. Getting a little burnout on green micarta, not complaining because I love micarta in general, but brown micarta, that would be pretty nice. But anyway, the small and large, again, just fantastic action. I really don't know. I'm a bigger blade guy. I really prefer blades in the 3.25 to 3.5 inch, maybe even a little bigger. But I really don't know which one I like more. I think I do like the larger one better still, just because the detent is just a hair stronger on this, and that blade just kicks out. I mean, it absolutely kicks out. The micarta has held up and patinaed very well. Hasn't fallen apart or gotten all nasty and gritty on me. So quality micarta for $50. Just a fantastic offering from CJRB. Both of them are. I believe they're both $50. Both are really nice. Highly recommend those to either of these to all of you as well. So whatever you prefer there, whatever size floats your boat, go with it. Don't regret it. The micarta is a little harder to find right now. I don't know if that's available. I believe these are Blade HQ exclusives, but these are available in some G10 colors that are really just as nice, and they're actually a lot cheaper too. I want to say they're like $10 or $15 less. So super affordable in the G10 options. So take a look at those if you can't find the micarta. And now next we have the Kizer Justice. And now this one isn't a super long-term review, but after I did the review on this, I was a little critical of the line here, how it just kind of stopped as a square at the end here, and how it didn't continue around the clip, and it just looked, it looked cheap. It just didn't look that well. It also isn't centered very well on the clip, so it just looked like kind of a slop job. And I mentioned that because I want to be truly honest in all my reviews, and I want to point out the details that you guys can't see when you're looking at knives online. So that's why I did that. It wasn't to be rude or, you know, a bully, but it was what I saw, and I felt like you needed to know that. And I also just basically said the glass breaker I don't dislike. I don't really have a problem with it. I could just go with or without it. Not a very big deal to me whatsoever. Other than that, the rest of the review was very positive. This has a beautiful blade shape, fantastic action with the flipper and the thumb stud, and that's still true. I don't have anything bad to say about this knife. I haven't even had to open it yet because it was this smooth right out of the box, and I'm not going to open a knife and mess with it if I don't have to. And it's just butter, absolute butter. So it's fantastic. I would still recommend this one all day long. But back to this clip. So I did the review, and then Kizer reached out to me on Instagram with a very friendly, nice letter thanking me for the review, and they wanted to give a little more in-depth background on the story of this knife. So this knife was designed by their designer, Azo, and he did it in collaboration with a LAPD officer named Newt Wynn. I believe that's how you pronounce Newt Wynn. And they designed this and named it after Wynn's son, who was also an LAPD officer. So that explains the glass breaker. They wanted this to be a law enforcement knife, and I think they did a really good job of that. It has nice grip, awesome action, nice big blade of good steel. And obviously, so now that kind of tells us where the blue line's from. It's actually the blue line to support law enforcement. And I really like that. I think that's an awesome story. These are the kind of stories that I wish would be made more public to everyone. It should be in the description of every website, everything, because it's nice to know, because I'm a huge supporter of all law enforcement. You know, we're going through a lot of stuff right now within the country, and there's no such thing as a perfect person. But at the end of the day, the officers in this country are here to protect us and serve us, and it can go back and forth. You know, it's crazy times right now, but I'm not getting into all that. But I do support our law enforcement, and I think that's a great story. And they also said they were going to address the issues with the clip. They said they were going to take a look at completing the line and making changes to it to make it look just of better quality and look to a better overall presentation. And I thought that was awesome. No other company has ever reached out to me outside of one for totally different reasons that were good reasons. But no company took such a proactive response to come to me and say, hey, you know what? We heard you, we see you, and we agree. We're going to take a look at it. So I think that's awesome. And I really like the blue line now. I didn't dislike it to begin with. What I disliked was the way it was executed. So if they fix that, I think you're going to have a really good overall finished product. And like I said, there's not much else to do. Just finish it down there, continue it up here, even it out. And I think this is an awesome tribute to law enforcement. And I like I said before, I hope they make that more transparent in the future. When this knife or when a knife goes for sale, I think it's important to know the story behind a knife. It helps the buyer connect with it, especially a knife enthusiast, someone who collects knives or someone who really appreciates knives and the finer details in it. It's important to know. So I thank you, Kizer, for reaching out to me. I really do appreciate that, and it is a really nice story to know. And this is probably a knife that isn't going to leave my collection anytime soon because of the quality, the action, the looks. It's just a nice big knife. If you like big knives and you like good action, you will like this knife. So for $75, it is, I believe it's 75. No, you know what? I think this is 59. I'm sorry. Look it up. It's on Blade HQ. Look it up. 59 or $75. For some reason, I want to say $59. I'm almost positive now it's $59. And for $59, you really, really, really can't beat that. Might even be $69. I don't even know now, but it's super affordable, well under $100, and a great value. So check this one out if you're looking for a big knife. And now this one right here, this is the Real Steel Rokot. And you know what? Before I went any farther, I don't think I specified. This is the Kizer Justice. Before I get too far ahead of myself, the Kizer Justice, obviously Justice, named after the LAPD officer's son, who's also an LAPD officer. So Kizer Justice. I'm sorry if I didn't give that out at the beginning when I was talking about that. But this is the Real Steel Rokot. And this one was reviewed by Slicey Dicey over on his channel. And he did a review before I even started my channel. He did a really good review of this knife. And since I had already seen the review, if I had done a review of this, there's not a whole lot more I could have added. And I didn't want to just steal his material. So I respect Slicey a lot. I think he's one of my favorite reviewers. I don't want to do that to him. So I just didn't review this knife. If you want to see an original review of this knife, go over to Slicey Dicey, look up the Real Steel Rokot, ROcot, and he's got an awesome review of this with some nice details and a little story behind this knife, which is really worth checking out. But I did buy the knife because it looked awesome. I liked his review, and haven't been disappointed with it. This is a thumb stud deployment. And it is also a front flipper. And all in all, it's pretty smooth. For a front flipper, the ergos are good. They're not, I wouldn't call them great, just because sometimes I feel a little fidgety when I'm deploying the blade, but there's no issue with deployment. It's more of just how it sits in my hand. And again, this comes down to hand size. There may not be any flaw in the design of this knife. I'm not saying there is, because I obviously still haven't really like it. But the thumb studs were great. Action is very good. Very good. I have opened this and cleaned it, but it did help a little. But overall, it was pretty smooth right out of the box. Nice front flipping action. I like the blade design. Just a very no BS working blade in N690. Very cool maker's mark there. And very nice ultra deep carry pocket clip with a recessed screw and everything. So I would consider this a perfect pocket clip with a nice little code here on the clip. Again, go check out Slicer's review if you want to know what that's all about. He does address that, and it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome story behind it. The only thing I don't really like about this knife is it has flatheads to disassemble it, which can be kind of a pain. But I did, and there was no real problem with it. So it's easily doable. I really wish they were your regular number 8s, ideally 8s or 6s like on some of them. But nonetheless, all in all, I really like this knife. It was $72. A little harder to find. They have it on Knife Center, I believe. Knife Center is a place you can get it at. But just a really nice knife. very smooth. Really nice blade to handle ratio. Nice continuing lines. Very beautiful design. Like this one a lot. Like I said, I have not reviewed it, but this is a long-term review, so you don't have all the specs from me. Slice, he'll get that for you. But this is a very nice knife. If you like the design of it, absolutely 100% go for it. Very solid. You won't be disappointed. That's the Real Steel Rokot. Got a couple more here for you. We have the QSP Penguin, and this guy. This is on here because you have blue denim micarta, you have a D2 blade, you have a very nice, almost perfect deep carry pocket clip, and you have a price tag of $29.88. That's what I paid for it on Blade HQ. I've heard you can get it for considerably less at other places. I believe Drop may have been one of them. I don't know if they're still available on Drop, but regardless, $29.88 for this knife is probably the best deal of the year for a knife, because I've carried this knife a lot. I've probably carried this D2 steel more than any other knife with D2 steel this year, and no rust. No rust. Still a nice satin finish. It's running on washers, and it's pretty darn good action. You can shake it shut, you can do the Spidey flick, you can do all that stuff with it. $29.88. The denim micarta has actually patinaed pretty well too up at the top, and I thought it would darken a little more down low, but I guess it hasn't. This is obviously going down in my pocket like this, and maybe there's just a little more sweat lower down my legs, who knows, but it has patinaed very well. It feels very well. It's a nice Wharncliffe blade, kind of a sheep's footy Wharncliffe blade. Definitely a Wharncliffe line, but it comes all the way out here. Nice, powerful cutter. Comes down to a good edge. And it really, for $29.88, this has got to be the best bang for your buck this year. Just good action, solid build. Very, very surprising price tag. I don't really have a whole lot else to say about this. It's just straight and to the point. Great deal. Fantastic budget knife. And for $29.88, no complaints whatsoever. It's a new brand. Maybe that QSP wanted to burst onto the scene with a rock bottom price, and if that was their intent, they absolutely did. Because I'm a fan. I like it. I have a full review. You can check it out on my channel if you want, but I think this is really, you don't need to see a whole lot else. $29.88, micarta, D2, deep carry clip, win, 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 win. QSP Penguin. Check it out. And last but not least, we have the Damn Designs. And what was the Oni? The Damn Designs Oni. And this is a wicked little guy. And now when I reviewed this, I was a little critical on some things. It made a weird sound. It sounded like it had grit in it. It was probably the most critical I've been of a knife since I've had my channel. There may be a couple other ones that are a little close, but this was probably the #1 spot of knives I was most critical about for some reasons, for some fit and finish issues up here on the carbon fiber. The blade's a little off center, but at the end of the day, the blade centering has actually gotten better since I disassembled it and cleaned it. So, you know, these issues I have, I will say, for what I said about it on the review, which was there was still a lot of positivity, but for as critical as I was, I've carried this knife a lot. This is probably tied with the Milea now for most carry for a 5th pocket knife, and just because it looks badass. I mean, look at it. You got carbon fiber, you got S35 VN, you have a sweet Tonto blade, and it's a front flipper, and it is a gnarly little front flipper, and $80, $80 or $85. Now, I don't know if this one's still available because they were kind of limited on quantity of this one on Damn Design's website. But last I saw, there was still a lot of the D2 variant of this available, and that was only $40. So for $40, you get basically this same design with G10 and D2. So that's still a pretty damn good deal. Pretty damn good deal. But yes, definitely, this knife is broken in really, really well. It's broken in better than just about any other knife I've bought. especially for the price tag. The issues I had out of the box are not that big of a deal anymore. Some of them have gone away. Action has definitely smoothed up. Feels a lot better. I cleaned out those bearings and everything, and it looks and runs much better. Nice lock up there. I'd recommend this one. I'd recommend it. I know they also, last I saw, they had pre-orders. I don't know if they still have the pre-orders open, but they're coming out with a model of this with just a regular style kind of a drop point blade. So that one looks pretty sweet. I may even get in on that one as well. I would like to get a titanium version that I missed out on this blade model. I missed out on the titanium version of this. They were all sold out, so that kind of sucked. But I do like this carbon fiber, even with the little flaws up there. I like the red highlight around it. It complements the gnarly Tonto tip very well. And just a little beast of a knife. It's pretty cool. It's a fun piece to carry around, fidget with, and just show off to people because you don't see this at a lot of places. I think you have to go to their website to get it, so it makes it a little harder to get, and you don't see it quite as often. Walking around in the streets, you're not going to see it nearly as much as you would a Spyderco or a Benchmade or a Civivi or anything like that. So, a nice little flair of uniqueness to it. So, that's all I got for you guys. That was all of them. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm also going to have another video coming out sometime soon of long-term reviews of knives that were $100 and higher. So keep an eye out for that one. Let me know what you think of this. Do you want to keep seeing them? Is there any information that I didn't mention in these reviews that you would like to see in future long-term reviews? So let me know all that. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Until the next one, I'm out.